Good weekend for sports, believe it or not, in the state of Mississippi as Mississippi State and Ole Miss get baseball underway. Ole Miss 4 games against Hawaii, Mississippi State 3 games against Air Force. And then we've got college basketball, which is exciting too. And Mississippi State will host Arkansas at 1 o'clock on Saturday. That's all brought to you by an amazing Boar's Head Charcuterie Board. Great for the games, obviously, or anytime. Premium meats, cheeses, and hummus. Boar's Head, compromise elsewhere. We welcome in our friend Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. He's been down at the Senior Bowl and then Las Vegas. And this is kind of like his flu game, where he's under the weather, but we know he's going to have a great performance here over the next 20-something minutes. Steve Palazzolo, good morning. Welcome in.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I'm, going to play through it. If I'm going to have 2 weeks away, that's what happens sometimes.
Man, oh man, NFL Insider. How many days were you out in Vegas?
A whole week. I was Monday to Monday.
Ooh.
We flew home early, first thing Monday morning this week.
And did you have a great time?
Yeah, it was good. I didn't do anything crazy. I'm not crazy or anything, so it was all good. I like the networking and the seeing Twitter friends in person once or twice a year, that type of thing. So it's always good to catch up with friends around the NFL.
Best meal you had in Vegas?
Oh, we went to Peter Luger Steakhouse.
Good Lord.
4 of us, 4 of the PFF guys. They have like a steak for 4, but like I was gonna order that myself, so. We got a steak for 4, and then it's like a real simple menu. It's just steak, and then like a sirloin for 2. So we got like steak for 6 for 4 of us, and crushed it. So it was good.
Do you remember the temp? Was it medium rare? What did y'all go with?
Yeah, we went medium rare.
Good.
Good stuff.
Did you see who was the most famous person you saw last week?
Oh man, I mean, I was at a party where like T.O. was over there, and Dr. Oz and Cedric the Entertainer, I guess. I don't know. There's just people everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. How many shows did you do? Like 48?
No, we just did 1 a day.
Okay.
And then my podcast partner Sam, he had his real flu game. He was at the Super Bowl in the press box, starting to get the sickness that I have right now. So he had to play through it live after the show on Sunday night, after the game on Sunday night.
Dang.
So I think we did 6 total. So we did like 5 down there, and then a post game show on Sunday.
Did you see Chris Collinsworth?
No. Chris is always in like secret upscale parties and stuff. So. I usually see him in Cincinnati, not at the Super Bowl though. He gets in later. He'll get in like on a Friday and hang out through the weekend.
Yeah.
But I usually don't catch up with him at the Super Bowl.
He's still on top of his game as a color analyst, Steve.
Oh, for sure. He's legit. He's got, that's the story of why he bought PFF initially. He worked so hard trying to prepare for games, and he, stumbled upon PFF and then, just bought it. But, he works really hard, as far as weekly prep and what he does to know every team inside and out, how they play, what the storylines are. So it's all that preparation Monday through Saturday that I think has him ready to go on Sunday night.
Steve Palazzolo, NFL Insider on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. I feel like it was a week or 2 ago, and we've almost talked about it too much, but I do have to ask you about one piece or, part of the game. And that's the overtime. And should the 49ers have deferred the football?
Yeah, I think probably. I don't detest Shanahan's explanation that he wants the ball third. There is a world where it's tied, and then the team with the ball has it in sudden death. I think the problem was, and I caught this live, and I didn't go back to confirm it on the broadcast, but it did seem like whoever made the call for the Niners was a little hesitant. They said, you won the toss. What do you want to do? And they were like, receive. And it was almost like they reverted back to like, well, of course it's overtime. We obviously want to receive. Whereas the reports out of Kansas City, Kansas City has a guy, I've just seen the report today, a guy named Mike Frazier, who studies game management, and that's a big part of his role with the Chiefs. And our PFF data certainly helps with a lot of that. We're familiar with some of how teams operate, but they were having their guy Mike Frazier from the front office really informing the team throughout practice in the playoffs, just what overtime looks like, and just making sure that they were prepared. I think the story's maybe a little overblown because people love to run with narratives, but
sure,
it did feel like the Niners were a little unprepared. When they said there's a new game, I think they meant, hey, the quarter's not just going to end and reset. We're going to continue. I think I understood that, but there was still like a little indecision there. So end of the day, they probably should have kicked. Like, it's probably closer to college where you want to know what you're going after. Then you can have a 2-point conversion choice if you want to go for the win. But it did feel like the Niners were just not necessarily as prepared as the Chiefs in that moment.
All right. Did you bet on the game?
No, I don't. I try not to.
Okay.
I make my picks. I mean, I picked the Chiefs. It was funny because I thought all of our data at PFF said the Niners have a slight edge, and I'm like, I think the totality of the data leaning Niners makes sense, but the way the Chiefs have played in the playoffs, I liked them. So I was right. At least got that down.
Steve Palazzolo on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Okay, let's go into Chris Jones. He is a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3 Lombardi trophies. Romo was talking about him all night. He's had some big moments in the postseason. Which direction would you go today? Is Chris Jones in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Oh, the Hall of Fame. I mean, yeah. I mean, when you start to add the team awards matter in those discussions, and now you're talking 3 Super Bowls. And I'll tell you what, like I love the QB discussion and the GOAT discussions, and I still think Tom Brady's the best, and Mahomes is gonna make a run and what have you. But when you go back through the Chiefs' wins in this game, maybe the Bills game, and you're just like, man, it really is a play here and there that the Chiefs always seem to make. As a team, not just Mahomes, the whole team starts to make like 1 or 2 more plays than their opponents. And Chris Jones is just at the forefront of that. The pressure on Josh Allen on what could have been the game-winning touchdown in the Buffalo game. Pressure on Brock Purdy to stop touchdowns in the Super Bowl. And then just the ability of Chris Jones to move around the line of scrimmage. When he rushes against tackles, it's like they save it for 6 to 8 times a game. Chris Jones is going to play on the edge, and he's going to get the tackle one-on-one. And he'll win. He wins more often than not at the crucial times when the Chiefs decide this is when we're going to line him up against this guy. Here's the matchup we're going for. He did it against the Bengals in the AFC Championship last year. Defeats the tackle for a sack on Joe Burrow that helps the Chiefs win. I mean, every single one of those Chiefs games, if you go back and you could say, well, here's where Mahomes was great, or here's the thing that Mahomes did in this comeback attempt or in this game-winning drive, you can have those same discussions about Chris Jones. And as a defensive lineman, that's crazy. It is unbelievable to be able to make that kind of impact at the crucial times as consistently as he does. So, yeah, Chris Jones, I'll say yes, Hall of Fame. He has been outstanding, and he's got this playoff resume and run to lean on now.
High praise from our man Steve Palazzolo, NFL insider, Pro Football Focus. All right, let's switch gears because I have Chiefs fatigue. All right, we'll go to something that's not as awesome for me, the Cowboys. So what grade do you give the Cowboys for the Mike Zimmer hire as defensive coordinator, Steve P?
I like Zimmer as a coach. I don't think he likes PFF very much, but I like Zimmer as a coach. I mean, he did a nice job in Minnesota. I know he was the head coach for a while. They were consistently good. And even as things got toward the end there, I mean, Zimmer he had really good defenses. He was very good on third down. He's got that. I think one of the trends around the NFL right now is the ability to create the illusion of pressure. Basically, we're gonna blitz 5, but you don't know where they're coming from, or we're still just gonna rush 4, but we're gonna mess up your protections and make you get rid of the ball quickly, whatever it might be. Mike Zimmer's very good at that. He's had several games, historically that I can remember with Minnesota, where like Matthew Stafford's Lions, just they had no chance. Stafford would get sacked 7 or 8 times, and it wasn't even because the Vikings were winning one-on-ones. It was because they couldn't handle the blitz scheme, and the pass rush scheme that Mike Zimmer had. So I think he's got a very good third down defense. It's the challenge is going to be, okay, are they going to upgrade over Dan Quinn? Are they going to overcorrect and say, well, we had these 210-pound safety linebacker hybrids. Now we're going to have 250-pound linebackers because we don't want that to happen again. You have to be careful. And I think Zimmer was saying the right things at the press conference yesterday. Basically, you got to see what the players can do, put them in the right position to succeed. I have faith that he'll be able to do that. There's still a ton of talent there. They're obviously trying to get over that hump. And I don't think it's when you lose a Dan Quinn, who I think has done a great job there the last 3 years, there's a chance there could be a big drop-off or this big unknown, and I think Dallas has done as well as they can to bring in a veteran like Mike Zimmer to take over the D.
All right, so Steve Palazzolo likes the hire. Interesting. All right, Pro Football.
Are you okay with it? How are you, though?
I'm good. Look, this all comes back. I watch the Dallas media. I mean, I monitor that, and I do in the national media, and to me, it's just the same thing, Steve. They don't have a general manager. I know, Will McClay, and I get all that, but in a league, and you know this better than I do because of the company you work for and all the awesome, cool stuff y'all do. But in a league that is decided by less than a whisker, you can't be set up. I started off in business first before getting into sports media, and most people in media don't understand business. And the one thing that I look at is the way that they're aligned, and their model does not work to give you NFC championship appearances, much less Super Bowl appearances. So when I hear the whole dog and pony show every year, I go, it's the same thing. The 49ers they're not built like this. The Eagles, the Chiefs, and some of the other teams. So I don't think they're as talented as the media claims either. And I think Romo and Dak have absolutely carried the franchise. And I think that they could very easily be the Texans, Jets, or Browns or Jaguars at times the last 15 years, if not for really good to sometimes really, really good QB play. They've got some other options, but you have to have an unbelievable general manager, in my opinion, to win at the highest level in this league that's decided by a fingernail. Your thoughts? Am I crazy?
No, I think that it's an interesting take because I don't disagree. I work for a business now too. You see that type of stuff, right? The leadership stuff matters. A lot of that's why I don't feel great commenting on head coaching hires and things like that because I don't know. Like we don't really know. Nobody, unless you were in the interview with Dan Campbell, knew that maybe Dan Campbell would be good.
Right.
But on the surface, you would just say, oh, he doesn't have a super special scheme. Why are we hiring that guy? And it turns out he's incredible for the most part, right? So I think that stuff matters, right? Structure and, how you build a team and the franchise. The part I'll disagree with, though, is I do think they're really talented. And the part that I don't, no matter what the structure is, I still think they've gotten on the green, so to speak, right? They're consistently on the green in the playoffs. But there's some sort of mental component to this. And I don't even know if any structure has anything to do with that. Why can't this talented team just win a couple games in the playoffs? More than the one that they won last year against the Bucs. That part, I don't know how they solve that other than like they just need, I don't know, they need to stumble into it, play carefree. There's something. Because I did some Dallas radio last week, and we just joked around for 20 minutes and just said, I don't have any answers for you guys. Well, you're going to go through next year and win 12 games again. And
it's the same thing.
Don't choke.
Yeah, and look, either David Hellman or Bobby Belt said the same thing, and they're two guys that I don't always agree with, but I agree with a lot of what they do, and they keep their finger on the pulse. And one of them posted that, look, this was right around the McCarthy chatter that maybe Jerry and Steven go another direction. And one of them posted, look, John Harbaugh and Mike Vrabel are not going to put up with what you have to put up with as the Dallas Cowboys head coach. And that's all I needed to know. It's a circus. Yeah. And the teams that win, here's my point to you. The teams that win, that bottle it for a few years outside the Chiefs and Patriots, which, as you know, are outliers and an anomaly. But the teams that bottle it they're not a circus, Steve. The Ravens, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Chiefs. Now they're not a circus. And what David Hellman and Bobby Belt were telling me as Cowboys insiders is still a circus. And you just can't win like that in this league. It's too damn good.
Yeah. No, it's tough to disagree there because I think anybody can just relate to their jobs and structure and bosses and what have you. And all that stuff matters because it matters who you hire. It matters the work environment. It all does matter.
Yeah.
It does add up.
All right. Let's switch gears here. I like this. Steve Palazzolo, NFL Insider, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. Did the Chargers make the best coaching move of the offseason, Steve?
I just told you I can't comment on these coaching moves. No, I think so. I mean, I think it's the highest upside play. You know, Jim Harbaugh, who turned around Stanford, turned around the Niners, turned around Michigan. Okay, we've got this, multi-level track record of turning things around. And again, the head coach is not just an X's and O's genius. I think Kyle Shanahan might be, but not every head coach is like that. They're generally a CEO. They run the whole thing, and I think Harbaugh's shown that he could do that. So I do like that. I mean, the other challenge here is, okay, you're in the division with the Chiefs. So what's the best solution for trying to overcome the Chiefs? I mean, I think you have to take a big swing if you're the Chargers and go for the high upside play. Now, my concern or the question I would have with Harbaugh, he brings in Greg Roman. Roman's done better with mobile quarterbacks, QB run game with Colin Kaepernick, with Lamar Jackson through the years. Do that in Jim Harbaugh? We just saw him in Michigan. They'd have 6 tight ends out there and 4 defensive linemen and just run the ball at the gut over and over again. Do they have it? Does Harbaugh have enough to adjust to today's NFL with Justin Herbert under center? Are they going to run the ball too much? Are they going to be, trying to play old school football in a world where they're going to have to compete with the Chiefs and try to keep up offensively? So that's what I'm keeping an eye on there. But I think Harbaugh's smart enough to play the style that's needed. And again, he's had success at every level. So yeah, I think that's the play for the Chargers, a team that's generally on the cheaper side and doesn't make those big splash type of moves, and it's an aggressive move, and I think they needed it. They've got an opportunity here with Herbert and some of the other key pieces that they have on the team.
All right, now's the time of year over the next 90 days where we also pick apart quarterbacks, as you know, from college, and make sure that we just chase our tail and go crazy. It's early, but do you have Caleb Williams as the surefire, bona fide, number 1 pick in the NFL draft, without a doubt, quarterback out of Southern Cal?
Yeah, I would take Caleb Williams. I mean, I think you have to. I think there's an element of chasing some of that upside with the quarterback play, just because it's a different evaluation process than other positions. You're not just trying to get starters. My goal is not to find a starting caliber quarterback. It's to try to find a difference maker. And even if Caleb Williams has some issues with his game, holding the ball too long, maybe not taking the checkdowns and the easy stuff, maybe taking too many negative plays, struggled a little bit down the stretch last year, especially under pressure, I think Caleb Williams has the highest chance to hit a home run, right? To be a game changer at the next level. Now, there's a lot of steps along the way there. And you're going to hear the Patrick Mahomes comps because they do some things stylistically. But Mahomes made all of those steps. Right, the scouting report might read similar, but Mahomes got better at playing within structure, taking what was there, not forcing the ball, sitting in the pocket when he needed to, scrambling when he needed to, knowing the feel for the game. Mahomes did everything better. So even if Caleb Williams does a few things better, he could be a special player at the next level. So I'll take Caleb Williams. Obviously, he's not a perfect prospect. I don't even know if he's generational, but he has the ability to be if he cleans up parts of his game. So I would take my chances with Caleb Williams if I'm sitting there at 1.
All right, I'm going to give you the most overlooked, underrated QB in the draft. Well, it's like legitimate, top 3 rounds. I'm not talking about somebody mid-7th that's going to that played for a terrible system, bad OC, and so on, but who's got the tools, skills, athleticism, and so on. I think he could be a gamer. Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, Rattler's fascinating. I mean, there was a point a couple years ago where the QB classes coming out didn't look great, and like Spencer Rattler was the guy that we just expected, in part because he followed Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, and it was like, oh, he'll be the next Oklahoma quarterback, and he'll develop, and he'll be great. And it just didn't work out like that. But yeah, he was under a lot of heat, a lot of pressure at South Carolina. Saw him at the Senior Bowl a couple weeks ago. He did do a really nice job there. I love Spencer Rattler as that. If you can get him in the middle rounds, I love that. I don't think he developed as people would have liked, and there's obviously some question marks because of how it happened at South Carolina and everything. But yeah, I think Spencer Rattler has a ton of tools and ability to develop. And we heard some of that buzz at the Senior Bowl, and from the director of the Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy, kind of pointed him out even before we went down there. So yeah, I think you're on as far as Rattler goes, and I do think maybe late second, third round type of range does make sense for him.
Yeah, I like that. All right. We'll leave it there because we've got a lot of time between now and Detroit in the NFL draft. Are you going to go up there?
No, we usually record from Cincinnati.
Okay.
We'll cover it live here. So
yeah, I can't get motivated to go there after going to Vegas 2 years ago for the draft. I can't.
Yeah.
Have you been to Detroit?
I've gone up to training camp a couple times for the Lions, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you feel better. Thanks for playing hurt today. And
thank you.
I'm glad that you had a good trip to the Senior Bowl. We'll dive into more of that, kind of your thoughts on some SEC players, and that the Super Bowl went well for Pro Football Focus. And get better and have a good weekend.
Great. It was great to be back. Thanks, Bo. Yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. You're clutch, and we love you. Steve Palazzolo, Pro Football Focus. And the podcast was nominated for NFL Podcast of the Year. The guy's on fire, and I'm happy for him. And PFF.com is everywhere. So there you go. We're going to do tons of NFL hits with him actually, it's even more fun, believe it or not, in the off season with him, because it's pure speculation and the unknown, and between the draft and what could happen with Jason's Vikings, the Saints, people are listening. They're ready for a reboot there. You're going to walk it back with Dennis Allen again. The Cowboys, people love to dog the Cowboys and their lack of NFC championships appearances the last 27 years. And Dak. And, maybe some of the other things. I mean, are the Chiefs just going to continue to – history tells us no. We like to fall on the Patriots kind of crutch. But history tells us that you can't. This league doesn't allow you to do this. So can Veach, their general manager, can Andy Reid, their head coach, and can Mahomes and Chris Jones? Well, we'll see what happens with Chris Jones. But, can you continue to do this in a league that it's not like college football and it's not like high school where we get blowouts and blowouts and blowouts. This league, as we saw in the Super Bowl and in the playoffs, close game after close game, Jason, which is why we love it and why they had a billion people watching the game or whatever. But the Out of Bounds show is brought to you by Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue. Guess what? They have a new location in Dogwood. B3 is right by Chipotle, and it is amazing. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Back in a second.